All right, ready for real.
All right, let's roll.
Tick, tick, tick. Hello and welcome to episode 201 of Masters of the Forge. In this episode, we'll be covering the Arks of Omen Match Play Mission Pack. As usual, no. Last episode was a great time. It was a beautiful time. It was a great time. I want to apologize to everyone for my sound being hot street trash. It sucks to have episode 200 sound like a toilet, but that's entirely, I think my gear, I need to replace my gear. It's just getting so annoying.
Well, we've got some ideas on how to change some stuff around. So.
Well, not only do I have to change my input, I think I need to switch to like just a pair of headphones because I just keep on confusing. Like it keeps on trying to connect the microphone and that's on these headphones, and I should just use these for gaming, not for recording. So sometimes it ends up recording from which it doesn't sound bad when you're talking, but once you listen back to the recording, it's like, oh, that is not great. So,
well, we'll talk about what we should roll with because I have ideas. They're not all bad.
Well, hey, first time for everything. So hobby progress. So for the hobby progress in the short time between last we spoke and this we spoke, I finished the Gargant. I loosely followed Duncan's tutorial on the skin, which was a really good idea because it came out pretty great. I was real happy with it. Don't make mistakes though. You make a mistake, so a lot of this. So here's a big tip. When you're painting other sections on a model, after painting a giant section that is very smoothly blended, that took you time and effort to smoothly blend, don't paint vigorously and get splatters all over the delicately painted and smoothed and blended area, because that'll just ruins your day. Ruins your day. Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry to hear that.
I had to repaint one of the Gargant's boobs because it got a splotch of black paint on it and it dried. So there was even with the layer, I did put a layer of clear coat on above it, but it was just it wasn't like a thick layer of clear coat. So a thin layer of clear coat, I can probably get it with water if it hits immediately. Once it dried off, I tried smudging a little bit off I tried trimming it off with my knife, shaving it.
Yeah.
And it made it worse. I kind of had to fill a pit that got cut down. Well, it wasn't that it got cut down to the plastic, but I tried rubbing it, and it was just a show.
Oh, that's rough.
But you know what though? The rest, other than that, it was a really fun model to paint. It was so much fun. It was such a cool model. Mm-hmm. And the tutorial was really good. And the Artist Opus small dry brush that we got at the Adepticon VIG badge was real nice. It was real nice. I really liked that. Okay. And it seems to be holding up a lot better than the makeup brushes I have. I'm not sure why. Perhaps I think they are synthetic bristles too, so maybe that's part of it. I don't know, but it worked really nicely for getting that nice level of blending using the wet blending and then or the wet dry brush method of blending in and layering. It was good. Cool. I've also been building scions just because I have lots of scions. I did end up taking some arms off and some heads off of the ones I've already kit bashed.
Yeah.
And replacing them with bits from the actual Scion kit.
Yeah.
Because a real hotshot las gun looks slightly different than a regular las gun. And if I got those scattered in there, it won't look weird, I think.
Right.
And some of the heads were really cool heads from the Astra Militarum upgrade sprue from a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
But they were still not enclosed faces, which is bad in boarding actions, I think. So, and on, in space in general. So I replaced those with Scion heads for the most part. There might be one or two left in there, but a lot of them have face masks, which that's fine. What's a little radiation between, or background radiation between you friends?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. As long as they can breathe and live long enough to fight that one battle, they're fine. So yeah, Scions. I still have. I went through all the kind of picked through sprues and built 10 Scions from the picked through sprues that the guys gave me, and now I have 6 frames / 3 kits worth of Scions to build. So I'll have 15 more Scions in addition to those. I haven't decided whether I'm actually going to do 3. I'm thinking I'm going to do one of 3 things with them. Just build 15 more Scions, 3 more
Right.
3 more units of Scions, or do 2 units of Scions and a bunch more special weapons, or 2 units of Scions and another command squad, or 1 unit of Scions, 1 group of special weapons, and a command squad. I think I do want a second command squad because I am not sure whether I have very good order coverage in the army. I think I need more orders in the army. So I think I might at least do a command squad. So there'll be a command squad and a Scion squad. And then the third thing, I think I'll decide. I'll look at the numbers I have and see if I feel like I have enough units that I can get by.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, because they're not very expensive units. So, and I want there to be enough boots on the ground. So I don't want to have too few. But I think if I have 6 actual troops, I think that's fine. So if I end up with whatever number I have right now, I think I have 1, 2. I have the squats, the 2 units that are made from the Gene Stealer cult, 1 unit made from the Breachers, and 2 units made from the extra bits. So that means I already have 6. So I think just doing go ahead, do a 7th for funsies, and then do some extra special weapons and a command squad. So talking through it with you, I think that makes sense. I think that's fine.
It does sound good. Hopefully that'll work really well for you.
Yep. And as I said last episode, I'll be going ahead and I think I'll just work with what I have right now before I buy more kits. I'm buying a lot of hiking and camping gear.
Right.
I'm about to buy a jacket for more than the cost of I don't know, pretty much any Games Workshop plastic kit, and boots that cost more than the Arks of Omen terrain set. So,
woo, yeah.
So I'll just hold off on some 40K for a while. I've got plenty to work on, thanks to the kindness of our best friends here. So Jason, did you get any Herber Perger done for the new year?
Surprisingly, yeah, I have. I'm a little shocked. So for my white rubrics, I'm still working on the detail. Well, I've started the details because I had just worked on the aspiring sorcerer, but now I'm actually working on the rubrics by going through and adding in some black and gold, and I need to start adding in some red highlights. The 30K TAC Marines I had, I think they're finished. I don't remember. I'm tired of painting them. How about that? So I need to go ahead and build about 30 bases for Adepticon, or 34. I don't remember. I have it written down somewhere. And that shouldn't be too difficult because my basing scheme for that army is low. What's what I'm looking for? not low maintenance, but low stress. Yeah.
Mm.
I also need to add a lot of decals or decals, depending on how you want to pronounce it, to add to my
Triggered.
1,000 Suns, both the 30K and 40K. So it's a lot of decals. So many decals. All right. Now I've said that enough. Okay. Warhounds. So we're going to talk about this in a little bit. We played 2 games of Titanicus. Yeah, I'm sold. Fine. Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Up yours. Whatever. I blame Brian and Josh and you and whoever. So I built 2 of the Warhounds from the starter box. And I built all the options. I'm going to magnetize all of them because, one, right now money's a little tight with the move. And I also don't know the game yet. Like, I've played, and I don't know what options would work for what, and what would make me laugh the most. Throwing 2 essentially flamers on a Warhound sounds hilarious to me. That makes me laugh. That makes me smile.
Yeah, it brings me joy.
Yeah, it brings me joy. It's just like, this is dumb. This is going to be awesome. But I might do something else. I don't know. Although, really, the 2 flame template, what was Inferno, whatever they're called. I think those would be a lot of fun on a Warhound. So
I think so. Well, the fun part comes when you're playing against someone with a knight army.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like a giant swarm of Imperial Knights.
Yeah.
And always that first model takes 3 hits, but then each other model under the template takes 1 hit also.
Yeah.
So it's just like, why am I dead? My life choices, no.
Well, that's what they get for trying to game the system so they could, have extra movement. Okay. Yeah. And I've started building something we can't talk about until next episode.
Wah, wah. I don't know why. It's so stupid. But anyway,
I know. That one's kind of aggravating. Yeah.
It's like, that doesn't make any sense to me. So the games played, we have some.
We do.
I played a game of Sigmar with Tucker. When he came to drop, I forgot to talk about it last time. He dropped off the Gargant, and we played Cities of Nagash versus Ogres.
Nice.
That was a fun game. We enjoyed ourselves. Do I remember anything about that game? Really, no. I just remember that I got to play Warhammer, so that was great. Because it was a long time ago. I have no memory. 40K game with Kendrick is coming up on Tuesday, so I'm looking forward to that. We're going to play 2,000 Points of Tempest to War.
Ooh,
just a simple game. Yeah, I love Tempest to War. It's so good. We're going to be starting a new Crusade campaign on MLK Day.
Okay.
In a week.
Yeah, it's a week.
Oh, a week after that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we're gonna be starting a Crusade campaign with the local guys, and we're gonna play once a month and kind of commit to that.
That'll be nice.
And I'm looking forward. And he's going to come here, which is super nice. So I can, do the dad thing here. And we've been kind of trading off. I'll go to his house. I'll go to my house. It's nice.
You can also maybe do Altar of War stuff.
Yeah. One thing that I accidentally put in games played instead of Hobby Progress, Quinn got the Disney 50th anniversary monorail. And it's like this big monorail. It's it is like exactly 4 feet by like 5 feet.
Whoa!
Yeah, like the track.
Yeah, that's your gaming table.
I know.
A little bit underneath. Yeah,
I know.
Yeah,
that's what I'm getting at. It's congratulations, you figured it out. I'm not saying that I'm going to steal it. What I'm saying is it might accidentally miss a few pieces, and actually we are missing a couple pieces right now. And if it's missing some pieces, I'm just going to have to go ahead and buy another one for him so he's not sad anymore, and I'll just repurpose the other pieces somehow.
Yeah. Okay.
Dude, it's a monorail. It's really cool, and it actually works. Runs on batteries. so you don't have to plug it into anything. It'd be perfect as a table for gaming. It'd be great.
Oh,
Just
that's
have it
good.
driving around while the players are playing. I know, like match play, sometimes they kind of hate shit like that, but I don't care.
That's
Anyways,
funny. Okay.
it's fine. It's $130, by the way. That's like chump change compared to other terrain.
Well, yeah, and for
And,
Disney, that's pretty good.
And definitely like way better than printing. I don't want to print something that size.
Oh god, it would take forever.
It would take forever. Yeah, that's perfect. Anyways, we also played some Titanicus.
Yes, we did. How do we talk about this? Because there's some really hilarious stuff that happened in both games.
Well, yeah, we played 1,500 points. Jason's first game of Titanicus. I brought two warlords and a reaver and a warhound. So that's the first time I've taken anything smaller than a warlord.
Really? Okay.
Oh yeah. I had the same maniple. I can't remember what the maniple is. It's like.
I took that book out of here.
Well, it's the one that Kratos uses all the time because you can swap out a reaver for a warlord, so you can have 3 warlords. But I just use the same one because I'm used to it.
Yeah.
It lets you do first fire and split fire on a 2+, and it lets you if you fail a command check with one of the members of the maniple, the warlord or the Princeps Senioris can still roll.
Okay.
I took some lighter weapons that I'm used to.
Mm-hmm.
I took a bunch of like DACA weapons and stuff and I think that's how I fit the tonnage I had in there, because your tonnage was a bit smaller than mine, right?
Yeah. I took a warlord, a reaver, and 2 warhounds. I also took a custom legio that I worked out with SC Josh. I don't, and I was, he gave me, like, we're both running Zestobiax, which is the legio that was affiliated with the Thousand Suns. And so I basically just asked him, hey, how are you running your rules? And he gave that to me, and so I'm running it like that because it's easier, I guess, and he's thought about it, and I like to go ahead and stay consistent with someone who knows what they're doing.
Right.
And I took the Axial Maniple because that requires 1 warlord, 1 reaver, and 1 warhound. And so I went ahead and added a second warhound. Yeah. But like I have like Plaything of the Gods was one of the things I take. Elite Magos. What are the other things? Tracking gyroscopes. And there's something else. There's like 4 different things that he's been taking, and so I took. And all those upgrades, pushed me up to 1,500 pretty quick.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So if I go through and build this list, I'm probably going to modify some things around just because I don't know if I take this to Adepticon, which means I have to go build stuff and paint stuff. I gotta figure out how to get to 1,500 points without,
The standard is 1,750. Actually,
oh, Christ. Okay.
Well, another reaver is like, I think another reaver is like 250.
Well, I may email Josh or message him and see if I can
make me a new list. So, do you want to play with me at No, you open it up with, "Hey, Josh, do you want to play a game of Titanicus at Adepticon?" And he'll say, "Yeah, brother, I'll do that." And then you'll be like, "Okay, make me a list."
Help me with the list now. Help me. I need all the help I can get.
Yeah, that's called bait and switch.
Yeah. I don't know. Just the whole. How big is a warlord anyway? Is that the size of a regular knight?
The warlord?
Yeah.
Warhound? Oh, the warlord. Yeah. It's smaller than a knight.
Okay. Because this all comes down to me having to fly it from Texas, and
Yeah, it's smaller than a warlord. Yeah.
And I might end up, if I'm in the friendly, I'll have to take Spot.
Yeah, you have to bring Spot, and that'll be much bigger. I would tell you what I my old advice is, well, just fly Southwest, and you can take whatever you want. But that's A and S show, and B, they fly into
Midway.
the airport. They fly into Midway, and where I'm not flying into Midway. Yeah, no thanks.
Yeah, Midway. I used to live in Illinois. That is the orange line to downtown, then the blue line up to O'Hare, and then hopefully you can get a ride from O'Hare.
Yeah,
that
no
is
thanks.
About 2 hours. It is
literally the worst. Yeah. Dustin picked me up on the way last time, and it was not. And then I spent $50 on an Uber to get back.
Yeah,
and it's just no.
Yeah.
I might drive. I'm trying to convince Wendy to let me drive, and she's fairly dubious about letting me drive 14 hours straight on my own. Well, I can't imagine why. I want to bring my display board.
I'm not gonna get involved in that marital whatever. So yeah, the fun thing, or many fun things about this game, you can do all sorts of heat tricks and whatnot. But my favorite thing was we had secondary objectives, and both times I drew virulent payload, which meant
that sounds strangely like suggestive, actually.
Doesn't it? Almost like my discussion about astropathic communique. Anyway,
it's like someone corrupted by both Nurgle and Slanesh,
right? It's so you get extra points for a Titan exploding, and even more extra points if it explodes in your opponent's deployment zone.
Mm-hmm.
So I put that on those warhounds and just ran them as fast as I could across the board.
That's fair. That's fair. That's amazing.
I understand this assignment. I know what's going on. So
yeah, from now on, I have to make sure not to kill anything that's in my deployment zone.
I think I'm just going to name one of my warhounds Cyclops after that Cyclops weapon that used to explode all the time. And also it's
the Ford the Chevy
the Pinto.
The Pinto?
Oh, so Pinto Cyclops? Oh, Pinto. That would be a good name.
Just call it Pinto. Yes, I approve.
Great, I've already named my warhound. All right, cool.
Astropathic communique, Jason. What? Wow, okay, we have some interesting picks here.
Yeah.
So my pick is a Nabla Blackwart and Scrappa Sorehead from Forge World.
Yeah.
They are adorable. I am pre-ordering
these. Yeah, they
these.
are cute.
They're so adorable. I have like all the goblins. I just haven't painted all of them yet. And I think they're super cute.
I love that little chain sword. It is so nice.
It's amazing. Yeah. This is their description. Nabla Blackwart puts his chainsaw to work, securing his record for most fouls.
Aww.
Yep, it's nice. Yeah, that's definitely a foul if you chop someone up with a chainsaw.
I just love, like, look at his expression too. He looks so
having
happy.
a great day. He's having a great day. He's got his tongue sticking out. I don't know how that works when you have pointy teeth, but okay. Then Scrappa Sorehead bounces on his pogo stick to intercept the highest throws. Yeah, you can do interceptions in Blood Bowl, but usually only if you're really near either the thrower or the catcher.
Yeah.
But I suspect this guy can do an interception no matter where he is. Yeah. Well, I'm sure he has to be in the line between the thrower and the catcher, but I suspect his movement is incredible and he is designed to intercept, and I am here for it. I'm here for all of this.
Here's the rest of Nabla's description. Using his chainsaw to foul down opponents in the most blatant manner possible.
Yeah, I would love to use him in a camp. I would love to use him in a season of Blood Bowl, so I can just kill all of my opponents. Like, imagine you're playing Crusade and someone could actually intentionally add like D3 negative traits on a unit or something like that. It's kind of the same thing. Like you could actually kill someone's in campaign characters with this guy.
Yeah.
So that sounds delightful. I am all for that, especially when so many people in campaigns will be like, "I'm adding block to every player." Blah. Well, how about I chop his head off? He can't block with that. Maybe someone can pick up the head and block with it. I don't know. I'm not bitter. Jason, what was your astropathic communique?
So mine is the new Horse Heresy heads for the Word Bears and the Alpha Legion because they're cool. Who knows when they'll be released, but they're awesome. I do have an honorable mention for my communique, though.
Yeah.
It is the Necromunda Outland-based Beastmaster with Ripper Jacks. I'm not sure what to say on this that doesn't require me having to censor what I'm going to say, except that it's... The Ripper Jacks are highly suggestive. Is that a way to describe them?
I mean, they have both inner and outer labia. Let's just put it on the table.
Okay, so that's a medical term, and I don't modify those. Okay, I don't censor medical.
See, there we go. And like that's just a fact.
Yeah,
it just is.
Yeah, I just happened to click on that, and I started giggling. So there we go. All right, and what's up next?
I don't know. I can't take my eyes off this for some reason. I mean, at least they don't have like saliva dribbling from the mouth, because that would be way worse.
Yeah. There's part of me that would like almost want to, get these and have them as screamers.
Yeah, they'd be great as screamers. Those would be amazing screamers. Yeah. Those are. I mean. Depending on the paint scheme you use, they could even be more like.
Oh, they could be worse. Yeah,
they could be way worse.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's that. Well, welcome to 2023, everybody. We're gonna take. Yeah, I once saw an anime like that when I was a teenager. So, wait, no. How long ago was that? Anyways, we're going to take a quick break and come out. No, I turned it off. We're going to come back and talk about Arks of Omen in the lore. Greetings, mofos.
Are you out of George Dickel number 8, staring at a broken chess machine?
Don't want to spend the rest of the year tied to that couch?
Well, why don't you head on over to the 1 Hour a Night Facebook page and see what exciting stuff is going on there. It's a place to post all your daily progress in the hobby grind, as well as receive and give positive feedback. Also, there are usually a few interesting challenges going on.
That's right. All you have to do is search for 1 Hour a Night on Facebook. That's numeral 1 Hour a Night, all one word. Blood serum tests will be administered prior to approval.
Se til helvete og kom dere vekk. Det ikke en bikkje, det en slags ting. Den imiterer en bikkje, men det ikke det. Kom dere vekk, idioter!
What he said. Welcome back.
Sorry, still laughing. All right, let's go.
Yeah, after that long commercial, you're still laughing?
Yeah, man, this is great stuff. All right.
Okay, anybody if you're new to Masters of the Forge, we do lore topics every once in a while. When we do, it is generally scripted, but it is not, we don't read from the book. Well, except for a few quotes we're going to have here, but this is all research that we did on our own, and we will comment on it as we go. All right. Arks of Omen in the lore. So Abaddon is we open up with him being a little bit jealous of Harkin World Claimer's straightforward campaign in the Knockmoon Gauntlet. He kind of looking over there like, man, that looks like fun.
Yeah.
That guy looks like he's having lots of fun. I'm over here doing like chaos spreadsheets and stuff like and at that moment the vengeful spirit is still licking its wounds from the war above Vigilus. If you remember, some jerk flew a Eldar spaceship into it.
Wasn't me.
It wasn't me either. Some have been questioning his decisions not to strike directly at Terra, but Abaddon prides himself on the fact that he doesn't possess the hubris of a Primarch. He's like, yeah, that's the kind of crap that Horus would have done, and guess what happened to that guy?
Yeah.
Exactly. So he will not attack Terra when so much of the enemy has overwhelming strength elsewhere in the galaxy. Like, our enemy is spread thin. Why would we force their hand to make them concentrate on us?
Right.
When we can pick them off a little at a time throughout the galaxy. Like, these Crusade fleets are all assembled like pretty much together, or at least near enough where they can come back together and go back to Terra fairly quickly. Like, he's not wrong. Like, if they attack Terra right now, they would get messed up.
Yeah.
So anyways, aboard the Vengeful Spirit, the book shows us a scene where Abaddon is reviewing visions provided by his coterie of seers. They and the gods providing some of the images are trying to flatter and taunt him. They show him visions of Magnus, Mortarion, the Silent King, as well as Fulgrim. This is like a whole new series, a campaign series, by the way. So, it's starting off by kind of summing up, kind of revisiting some of the people who were the focus from previous campaigns.
Right.
And Fulgrim, too. Fulgrim has been engaging in infighting with other forces of chaos, unfortunately, and in Imperium Nihilus, which is kind of pisses him off, but whatever. The images also show him the Imperial threat, and the fact that it's a force unified in purpose and faith.
Right.
So he recognizes that the existential threat that he created, yes, it's been pretty successful so far, but it's also unified people in a way that they weren't before. This is, I mean, I don't want to say it's a 9/11 corollary because it's probably not, but I mean, you could look at it that way, sort of. But yeah, I thought some of the looking into his psyche there was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like that part.
At that point, the Vengeful Spirit suffers a massive attack by countless tiny technomagical creatures. It seems
can we put like a clip from Massive Attack in here so that we can have some?
No. So it seems some technomagi. I need to get this thing out tomorrow. So yeah.
Okay, fair.
Yeah. Some technomagi are attempting to expedite repairs with a strange arcane tome, and subsequent ritual have sent tendrils of malevolent control throughout the ship, particularly the bridge. Moral of the story, don't go trying to fix things without telling other people about it.
Especially techno-magical chaos tentacles. You never know what's going to happen with that.
Yeah, tentacles are interesting.
Yeah, we've learned that.
Yeah. Not going to continue talking about that. Abaddon makes his way there in time to receive the manifestation of a being calling itself Vastor the Archifane. The tome, and therefore Vastor, has been liberated from a joint Mechanicus Ordo Malleus vault by one of Abaddon's Black Region raids. Vastor proclaimed their disdain for the Dark Gods himself and claimed he was effecting repairs on the Vengeful Spirit. Both these things were points in Vastor's favor in Abaddon's eyes, and he stayed his hand. Vastor was similarly impressed with Abaddon's independence from the Dark Gods and Vastor himself. I am curious on how they're going to write the novels for this.
Yeah.
This is someone new. So
yeah, it is. And the writing in this is pretty good. I'm drawing a little bit of a blank. Oh, yeah, like some of the writing recently has gotten quite a bit better in the codexes and what was it? The Wars of Faith books. I think they were. I forget what they were at the end of 8th edition. They were a little rough. A bunch of them were pretty rough.
I remember that.
Writings on those, but this one was real. I didn't hate reading. I really liked reading through this and soaking it in. Of course, it's not going to make everybody happy, but I really enjoyed reading it.
That's good.
Yeah, and so Vastor also showed himself to be trustworthy and honest, which that's a red flag. Which is a strange trait for a powerful. Well, you'll see why. Deceit just always seemed to be on a negative side of his logical calculus. Like, he sees deceit as a thing of diminishing returns.
Right.
Like, he looks at like moments when other people would be deceitful, and then looks at moments when other people were truthful, like honest, or at least people who clung to their ideals and actually like followed through with what they said they were going to do. And he has found that the latter is more beneficial than the former.
Right.
That's it. That's just a cold if he thought that being deceitful would get you more, he would do it. But he's found that that's not the case. He's still an evil demon of chaos, but he's like, well, yeah, but I'm not gonna do anything that mathematically is incorrect. F that.
Yeah.
But that begs the question. Oh, but following chaos apparently is a positive on that calculus. What are we doing wrong here? He let the demons in his employ play their silly games. Like, he's not gonna micromanage all the demons, right? Any being who tries to double cross him finds themselves in incredibly dire straits. No greater chaos power wants Vashtor upset, because his mastery of the techno-arcane is second to none. And they all benefit from these skills. Like, all the major gods and their lackeys benefit from Vashtor's skills. Like, there is not a single chaos god out there, well, of the four main ones. They don't really have a big like a major like skill in the techno arcane, right?
Okay.
They don't have a superlative skill. It's not part of their domain. Techno magic is not a part of their domain. That is Vashtor's domain. So if anybody's going to be a fifth chaos god, it's probably him.
Oh no.
No greater, yeah, exactly. Vashtor is a master of spirit binding, capable of quickly gathering forces of demon engines, both vast and small. He suggests that the two of them join forces. He's been waiting for someone as worthy as Abaddon to help him wrest control of the galaxy. He reveals that he's privy to a prophecy that's been troubling Abaddon's dreams. In that prophecy, Abaddon, when I first read this, it started with a prophecy, and I'm like, whatever. How many? Right. Whatever. But I had to kind of go back and actually read it, because it actually started to matter as the narrative unfolded. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go read what it says. In the prophecy, Abaddon is digging in the earth while the stars are being snuffed out one by one, until all that is left in the sky is a single speck of brilliance. Abaddon excavates a key from the ground, which he inserts into the point in the sky as if it were a keyhole. What frightens Abaddon, it literally frightens him, is that he's not sure what he's unleashing by unlocking this mystery will be worse than his existing foes. Like, he doesn't know what he's unlocking, but he's doing it anyways because it gets him what he wants.
Right.
He longs to fully interpret this dream and to see what the prophecy through despite the uncertainty and danger, and Vashtor is more than willing to help him see it through.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so and then they start going on this quest.
All right, so Vashtor wasn't the only one privy to the prophecy, however, of course. The Aldari also foresaw the threat to the galaxy by Abaddon's reaction to the prophecy. Worse, the result of his pursuit was unclear to the Farseers. Because of this, they warned the Imperium through Inquisitor Codiaz. Although he was ever trying to move. Yeah, I mean, let's see what explodes. He was expecting that.
Yeah. Haha.
Yeah. Wow. There's my pun for 2023.
You had to think about what year it is, didn't you?
Yeah, and the thing is, just like, can I pick up a second one this year? Let's see if it happens. All right. Although he was ever untrustworthy of the Eldari, such tidings were important to at least to investigate.
Well, yeah, it's like when the Farseers tell you something, you have to think, well, I'm sure there's some catch here that they're not telling me about, but I'm sure there's also something to this. So yeah, I definitely had to think earlier today, like, wait, is it 2022 or 2023? I went to someone's 30th birthday party today. And I'm like,
did you punch them?
No, I was like, you may feel old now, but I'll tell you what, I was when you were born, I was binge drinking Big Bear, so malt liquor.
Ugh.
So,
okay.
Yeah. Well, what are you gonna drink when you're 14?
Yeah, I guess.
Right. Only what you can hide in your jacket.
MD 2020. MD 2020.
Yes. Or Laser. Did you ever drink Lazer?
No, but remember, I'm on the border, and the drinking laws in Mexico are a suggestion and not really. Yeah.
Right. And the border situation was less fraught back then.
Yeah, I mean,
than it is today.
Yeah,
due to our xenophobia.
Pretty much.
Anyways, Warhammer.
So Abaddon, of course, is ever untrusting, even of a being such as Vashtor. He thought his mistrust was justified when they went on their first date together to destroy us.
Don't we all want our first date with our new beau to destroy a Space Marine chapter monastery? I think that's what I would like to do on my first date.
That's nice.
I keep getting
it's very nice that they found a date that they could both enjoy. All right, so Abaddon had wiped out almost all the resistance put up by the Iron Angels, which is a Space Marine chapter, not the German heavy metal band, and not to be confused with the Angels of the Iron chapter, because there's only so many adjective nouns that exist for us to go through and create chapters out of. Wow. So, Vashtor was nowhere to be found until they made their way to the heart of the fortress where the chapter master was fighting a bloody last stand against Vashtor and his demon engine hordes.
Mm-hmm.
Vashtor had apparently teleported directly into the heart of the Reclusium. Wow, okay.
Yeah.
That's brutal. When the bloody work was done, Vashtor ignored all the priceless relics of the now dead ancient Space Marine chapter and went straight for a scuffed, old marble pillar with the Space Marine carved on it, later to be revealed as an artifact known as the Oathing Stone. We are left to guess at what that might be, but whatever it is, Vashtor describes it as the key to unlock final and absolute victory. This relic seems to represent some terrible truth about the Imperium, which Abaddon believes to be an incredible betrayal representing some kind of revelatory hypocrisy.
Yeah, I'm still a little bit confused.
Yeah.
I think it's this... Spoiler alert, this does not get what all this isn't revealed. So the book transitions to a story about Abaddon overseeing a purgation of a space Hulk called the Stygian Heart. The Hulk is being run by a group of traitors known as the Scourged.
Okay.
We talked about them in an old episode. They are believed to be privy to every lie spoken by man. Remember those guys? That's an old episode. That was like one of the first episodes you did with us, actually.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah, a long time ago, yeah. There's a bit of decent dialogue that reinforces that Abaddon doesn't really care what the beliefs or powers of his subordinates are. All that matters is that they do his bidding. He's like, I don't care about your stupid... Like, oh, my daddy Primarch betrayed me. Shut up. Shut up. Just go do the thing. I don't care.
Right.
Your dad couldn't possibly be worse than my dad. Just go. For real, though, all that matters is that they do his bidding. And Abaddon explains that the Hulks, which he calls the Arks of Omen. Oh, he said the thing. He said the title of the thing because they are supposed to be heralds of prophecy. They do not need to be totally cleared of all threats for them to use the Hulks.
That's
So this is
interesting.
it's a great way of explaining why pretty much any faction can fight in this narrative. They might just be,
They were
a
trapped
faction
on there.
they're on, like orcs or Tyranids or whatever. They're just, you can write those into any story here.
Here's a
because the
rock
Hulks,
full of nids. Have fun.
exactly. You could say,
Yeah.
even if you're doing a planetary assault in a later, I don't know what the other campaign books are going to have rules wise or
Right.
like location wise, but even if they aren't ship to ship combat in the future books, you can say, well, my orcs were on the ark that's attacking this world, and they managed to disengage like and one of the asteroids or one of the orc ships from the hull of the ark and smashed it into the planet, and that's why they're here. Like it all, it's all a good, a good way to bring in anybody in these campaigns.
That'd be fun to have like an entire, Space Hulk full of orcs or nids and just throw them at a conflict.
Oh sure,
That's hilarious.
It's been done before.
Yeah.
It's
a great idea.
It worked for Cryptman. I mean, right? nothing bad happened there.
No, everything's fine. Everything's fine. How are you?
So, with a great deal of assistance from Vashdor, the Arks are being retrofitted with new thrusters and other equipment so they can serve the Black Legion's purposes. This is a pretty good idea because any existing equipment is probably not to be trusted. Probably.
Yeah.
Even with the willpower of Vashdor's otherworldly intelligence and technological influence. I don't know why I used my rock and roll voice there. It's fine. Abaddon and Vashdor's master plan involved the collection of space hulks in the warp. They used various means to scry the location of these hulks and drag them towards a single mustering point in Imperium Nihilus. Whichever warlord and or warband managed to lasso one of these hulks and tame it would win control of it once it was converted into an Ark of Omen. The procurement of each ark represented its own bespoke Dark Crusade, sometimes requiring painstaking research or acquisition of a powerful and esoteric chaos or Xenos artifact just to wrest control of this, these space hulks. In all cases, the taming of the arks required extensive and dangerous purgation missions within the space hulks themselves.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The book describes how Vashdor ultimately took control of the arks. Although each space hulk was different, the method used to control them was basically the same for each. The elements of control might be helpful in representing mission objectives in any campaign you might play in the depths of the arks.
Yes.
So we have wardings, which is a space hulk is comprised of a conglomeration of cursed vessels, relics, and machine spirits. In order for them to all work harmoniously, each hulk had to be bound as one with various spells, reliquaries, sanctified chains, unguents, which I hate that word, and other techno-magical means.
Right. So imagine imagine each space hulk as a soup.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like a space hulk when you
like.
Or actually I think gumbo's a much better simile, whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
Imagine a gumbo before you cook it, before you actually do the cooking, and before and without a roux. It's just a cold mix of vegetables and meats and liquids, right?
Right.
What these wardings did was that they added the roux and the put the heat on there to get all the flavors mixed together.
Yeah.
And to make it a harmonious dish.
Yeah.
Boy, that was a great analogy. Good job, everybody.
Yeah.
High five. High five. All right.
We should tell the guys at GW whenever we submit a Adepticon.
Yeah. We'll let them know.
Yeah. I'm sure they'll find that entertaining. All right. From there, we then have the flesh metal gangliaxos.
Oh, you did that really good.
Yeah, it's just ganglia. Anyway, these seem to be an invention of Vashdor. The gangliaxos, man, that is kind of a oddly. whatever, are physical representations of Ashtor's will. They are how he repaired the vengeful spirit. Within the Arks of Omen, they further bound the vessels together under one will. His will, of course.
His will.
So, like, these guys are almost the Rue, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
Warp Portal. An Ark's Warp Portal is unique and have come about by a variety of methods and a variety of sources. Whatever its properties may be, there is a Warp Portal either aboard or attached to the hull of each Ark. Their purpose remains unclear to everyone but Abaddon and Vashtor, of course. Obelskane. These demonic arcane devices act as mini astronomicons and are fueled the same way. Oh, that's cool.
It is cool. So even though it doesn't help them travel the galaxy, it helps all the ships in the fleet
find each other.
Like find the Ark, and it lets them reassess a situation very quickly. Like they can respond to threats really quickly, even though the fleets are big and cumbersome.
Yeah. Okay. The Ferryman is a corrupted sentience melded with each Ark, and in turn Vashtor. The Ferryman acts not just as a navigator, but as the nerve center of the entire technological conglomerate, bound together and cowed by the wardings and flesh metal Galaxios. That is really cool, like that Charon, there's some things you could, man, that objective marker could be real cool if you were doing something like that.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Additional systems. Every Ark is unique because every Space Hulk is its own little unique disaster of conglomeration of garbage. And each one can have a number of arcane weapon technologies reawakened by Vashtor's Gangliaxos. See, I pronounced it right that time. Of course, not all the Xenos and ancient Terran technology could be trusted, and not all of them could be repurposed. Shock. I'm sure they found Windows 98 in there somewhere.
Windows ME. It's just brought down every ship that came in contact with it. We lost an entire fleet. What happened? Windows ME. 90% of our listeners don't know what Windows ME is. That's fine.
Okay. It's all right, because those that do can have that nervous twitch. Yeah. All right. Vashtor and the Black Legion have retrofitted each Ark with any additional technology required to provide full defensive screens, hull reinforcements, and propulsion. Yes. That's pretty cool. I'm digging this, because this means, this is all boarding action stuff. So
yeah, and it can be incorporated in your game rules. If you're playing some Battlefleet Gothic, you should give each Ark of Omen some kind of interesting special technology or rule. Maybe some weird, like a powerful tractor beam, or something like that. It can fly as fast backwards as forward. Who knows? Like stuff like that. Just come up with something crazy, or a random table would be cool. It's just a big random table of weird quirks to give one of these arcs.
What I think would be fun is that, well, because of the way that. So I remember reading, what was it? Guy Haley book, Soul Drinkers and Nova Marines. Can't remember the name of the book now. Death of Integrity. There we go. I knew I'd get it. Yeah, they talked about how each ship they would go into had its own thing. So if you're on your gaming table, you can have, really odd setups. Like you can have maybe part of your board is very orderly, like a ship corridor, and the next part is like some sort of almost Eldar forest type thing or Wraithbone thing, just because it could be two ships that have been crunched together.
Right. You're at that point where they're fused. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh man, there's just so many. The
terrain possibilities are amazing. Yeah, absolutely amazing for this, and it always has been really for Zone Mortalis, etc.
That's very true. Yeah.
So a dozen arcs were sent out into the Imperium Nihilus, and soon Imperium Sanctus as well, because they can traverse the border between, like they can go through the Great Rift. They don't care. Like they love it there. It's like
what's going to happen? More chaos?
Yeah. Oh no! Don't threaten us with a good time.
That's right, man.
They were accompanied by battle groups of capital ships brimming with cultists and heretic Astartes. These Baal fleets were every bit the match of many of their Indomitus Crusade counterparts. Although many arcs and accompanying fleets were ultimately destroyed or repelled, many were not. The factions in charge of the arcs and their fleets were as varied as the arcs themselves. This leaves any number of stories ripe for the picking by narrative players and storytellers. The book describes a few of these differing factions, but whomever they may be, Abaddon didn't really trust one of them to always have the campaign's best interests at heart. So he spread operatives throughout the battle fleets, Black Legion bodyguards, quote unquote bodyguards. They're basically there to chop the captain's head off if they don't do what they're told. Specially trusted fleet captains, and even Alpha Legion spies.
Going through Black Legion bodyguards, it's kind of like some of the Space Wolf groups that were sent out in the Horus Heresy.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Because they're the police.
Yeah. Some of those guys didn't survive very long.
True.
For them.
Although each Baal fleet was free to sow death and carnage wherever they went and however they wanted to, each one was still tasked with securing a key fragment for the War Master so that he may fulfill his prophecy. So just like that one weird Space Marine pillar thing, these key fragments, Vastor said, were all powerful relics in their own right, each with a distinctive warp signature. If he were to combine these relics into one construct, it would be the proverbial key from Abaddon's dreams. It would be an artifact of such unimaginable power that would be the key to ultimate victory. Vastor didn't really need every piece of the puzzle to create this artifact, but the more original pieces that could be assembled, the more powerful the device would be. As each key fragment was found, it would be brought to the ship's warp portal and sent to Vastor's secret location for experimentation and integration. So I have a note here that says read last paragraph on page 28. I have no idea what I'm about to read. I was tired last night.
I'm looking at my PDF now.
Okay. Oh, okay. So I wanted to I wanted to just talk about some of the stuff that went down here. So the first section is about a Space Hulk called the what was it called? The Ogre. And it was captained by some Nurgle people. And there's an interesting story there, but then it gives some more examples. This was but one example of the bloody mayhem wrought by the Baal fleets. On Agamedes, the Ark Bloodmaw and its escort fleet began a months-long conflict against the maniples of Forge World Graia that saw entire planets depopulated. Amidst the Rasputer cluster, the Bane of Life's battle fleet plunged into an ongoing war between the kin of the Cronus hegemony and the Orcs of Wa Skullcracka. The resultant carnage swiftly escalated to apocalyptic levels. Meanwhile, a hit-and-run conflict played out through the sprawling Suppressa Nebulae. Here, Flens Master Thavok of the Night Lords found his Baal fleet beset at every turn by the Azuriani of Craft World Uthway and the Drukhari of the Cabal of the Iron Thorn, who sought to pick apart Thavok's forces one warband at a time. So, stuff's dangerous for chaos as well as non-chaos. Still, these are giant battle fleets.
Yeah.
Right?
So, to continue on, the Arks were massive, powerful fortresses, each with the destructive capabilities of countless vessels. This not only made them difficult to fight against, but also, for some factions, difficult to ignore as a potential resource to be taken, if not simply a threat to be annihilated.
Yeah, a lot of factions looked at these arcs and rubbed their hands together and said, "Yum yum yum."
Yeah, I could see. I could see almost every faction that's chaos based, being very into it.
I could see some orc warlords going, "Ooh, free spaceship." And by free, I mean I will throw every orc I have at that, and they will all die. But that's okay because I live, I die, I live again.
That's right. So among these foes were the Calvasi, who did not appreciate other species encroaching on their space. Enslavers, they don't need an excuse. What are we talking about?
No.
High Fleet Kraken, due to random unlucky translation from warp space, and the Necrons. The book talks about a key fragment hitting as an urn on a tomb world and how the Balefleet's warlord killed Overlord Samatek in his sleep and flew away with the relic. Samatek woke up super cranky in a different tomb world, amassed a fleet, and gave chase. The Arks were also an opportunity for the less populous parasite species, such as Drakari, who would follow in the Ark's wake and use the disruption to wreak their own havoc more easily. Man, Tau would be good since they don't know how to, warp. Still, those same factions and many others besides saw a threat for what it was and attempted to harry and hamper the foe. Aldari, Space Marines, and Sisters of Battle proved their worth against the Arks, though many of these boarding actions were usually costly in the extreme. And as one might expect, the Balefleets would also be coveted by other Chaos factions. For example, some were outright stolen by the Red Corsairs. Oh,
Yoink.
Huron Blackheart was wanting to rip off an Ark?
Yeah,
that's not going to happen.
Talking about Huron again. I do think we're going to have a little bit more with Huron going sometime soon.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. I don't think they're going to leave that stone unturned.
Yeah.
The last story time features a really cool locale. I kind of want to read the first paragraph.
Mm-hmm.
It's just really... So I know I'm reading a lot here. Okay, so I'm
reading, that's great.
It's just the second time I read it. Warmaster Abaddon led the advance across the precarious stone bridge. Devoid of anything resembling railings and barely 20 feet in width, the ancient expanse of carved rock was slick with black ice and exposed to the full fury of the blizzard lashing the Taurica Mountains. Chiron Tetrius's snow fell black as sable. In the strobe of muzzle flares and the glare of huge arc lumen mounted upon the mountain slopes, the flurries reminded Abaddon of the fluttering feathers of countless carrion birds. Several hundred feet to his rear, the bridge leapt out from Mount Sanctic to cross this yawning chasm. Ahead, visible only as a suggestion of something huge and dark in the gaps between the snowfall, loomed Mount Imperator. Cut into its rocky slopes was Abaddon's objective, the planet's Temple Ultima. Below the bridge wheeled a drop of almost a mile. Down there waded the icy waters of one of the most sacred reservoirs that lurked in the shadows between the mountain's feet. So it's like this awesome, cold, bleak place that snows black feathers.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So at that point, he's super annoyed that he's having to fight Cadians right now.
Yeah.
Like he has to fight them for every inch of ground, and it really pisses him off because he's like, I killed your planet. Why are you here? Yeah, stop bothering me. And he keeps taunting them as he goes, like, I killed your planet.
Yeah.
You're, whatever. There's no point in this. Give up, like, etc. He's only here because of the incompetence of the Ark's command structure. Like the Ark that was supposed to attack here, they were kind of incompetent, and he had to take it over. Like they were trying to like escape, and he's like, "You're not escaping." It turns out that this location is home to one of the most important fragments of the key, so it bore his personal attention. During the assault, Vashtor manifests before Abaddon and warns him that a world called Malacca Bale, and that is a...
I had not heard of that planet before.
Yeah, me neither. And it's probably going to be the focus of the next one, the next book, I assume, because of all the previews that we've been getting about the... well, anyways... This is Malacca Bale. It was a sun god worshipped in the ancient Syrian city of Palmyra, frequently associated and worshipped with the moon god Aglibal as a party of trinity involving the sky god Baal-Shamin.
Interesting.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah, that actually is...
Anyways.
I need to read that. I need to look more at that, because that's, something that might bring the Thousand Suns along. Yeah.
Vashtor believes that that planet is guarding the most powerful fragment yet, even more powerful than the one that Abaddon's going after right now. But he also believes the entirety of the Fourth Crusade fleet is gathered there, and it would be way too powerful for any of the individual Baal fleets to overcome. Like, he thinks that there's one of the Baal fleets is headed there right now, and he's afraid that it's going to be decimated by the Fourth Crusade.
Yeah.
Abaddon was interested to see that Vashtor was capable of doubt and contrition. Like, Vashtor was like, dude, we are going to get messed up. I'm scared. But he was also really amused because Malakabael was about to be hit with the mayhem-seeking missile that is Angron. When Abaddon told him this, Vashtor essentially goes, oh, I got to see this. And he goes away. He's like, dude, I'll be right back. I got to watch this.
This is gonna be good.
No, for real though. That's like literally. Well, hold on. Let me tell you what he actually says. No, that's fine. It's fine. I'm just flipping pages here.
Well, Adam's flipping pages. My cat.
No. I got. Wait, what about your cat?
Oh yeah, Zed's jumped. Oh, he just jumped out.
Hi Zed. Bye Zed.
Yeah. Yeah. He's just hanging out, sitting on Codex.
Angron. The word left his lips like a curse. It struck the air like a fist and left silence in its wake for several slow beats of Abaddon's twin hearts. When Vashtor spoke again, he sounded calculating, intrigued. I will go. I will witness this for myself. So
yeah, that's basically, I got to see this.
I got to see this.
Yeah.
So it's good story time. I think, I'm intrigued by this lore. There's not a ton of reading here, but what was there was pretty good quality. It was still, I mean, come on, it's 40K lore. It is always earnest. It is always a bit over the top, but that's the whole point, people. It's not a novel. It's a campaign setting. So I enjoyed it. What do you think, Jason? Yeah, the next one is probably going to be Angron and him going against this world Malakabael.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me at all.
Would not. How much you want to bet Malakabael has a moon called Aglabal?
I'm not betting on that.
Yeah, I'm betting on it. I'm going to put $1 on that. The Malakabael's name means Angel of Bel, attesting to his mythical role as Bel's messenger and acolyte. Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
interesting. So I'm not sure. I all of these weird esoteric artifacts that seem to have no purpose. I'm wondering. In my heart, I would love it to not be an actual like powerful laser gun weapon or something. I would love for it to be something that actually, like, when you put all the artifacts together, it tells a story that reveals the hypocrisy of the Emperor or something.
Yeah.
I think that would be cooler. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see how this. I mean, this is all going to be very interesting.
At least for the next few books, right? All right, let's take a quick break, come back, and we're going to talk about these new boarding action rules, which are the rules that came with this book. Damn, I knew it was around here somewhere. Damn, where is it?
Can I help you?
Ah! Scared me.
What do you seek?
I need the perfect scenario for a narrative game I'm running this week, and I can't find one.
Sir, this is the Black Library. We don't have narrative scenarios.
Well, then where should I go?
Might I recommend the Tabletop Campaign Repo?
The Tabletop Campaign Repo? What's that?
The Tabletop Campaign Repo is an ad-free site for hosting resources related to playing tabletop miniatures wargaming.
Oh, like scenarios?
Absolutely. Also, event packs, custom objectives, tracking sheets, custom terrain rules, maps, icon packs, award templates, and more.
Oh, and this is for Warhammer 40K?
Among other things. There's also Age of Sigmar, Kill Team, Warhammer Fantasy Battle, and others. They're always open for content submissions for any system, even non-Games Workshop materials.
Oh, that's awesome. It sounds like a great way to save all of this great content the community makes. A lot of that stuff often ends up disappearing into a dead message board or Facebook group.
Exactly. It's a real community effort.
Great. So, how do I get there?
Just go to that webway gate marked tcrepo.com.
tcrepo.com. Got it. Can I ask you one more question before I go?
Fire away.
This place is really easy to find. How come Armon can never find it?
Oh, because it's more funny that way.
Oh, yeah, clearly.
Once again, the Tabletop Campaign repository can be found at tcrepo.com, and they're always looking for submissions.
Come here, boy, get the ball. Aw, come on, Max, get the ball. Mom, Max won't get the ball. He's lazy.
I think I know why your Zote is being lazy, Jenny.
Why, Mom?
Because you forgot to feed him his Zotabix today.
Oh, no.
Oh yes, Zotabix contains all the nutrients and random animal parts a growing Zote craves. It not only provides our Zote with the energy it needs to play with you and protect our home, but it also keeps its chitinous shell fresh and shiny.
Oh boy, I'd better feed Max his Zotabix.
Yes, you had.
Zotabix is made in part from grade
Max,
A
time for
Astra
dinner.
Militarum post-engagement byproduct and is infused with 112 essential vitamins
No,
and
Max,
minerals
down.
harvested from your Zote's natural habitat, the finest desert depths.
Ah!
Zotabix is available in any shopping center on worlds where Zotes are allowed or where the Imperium's inexorable influence has not yet reached.
Welcome back.
All right.
I want to do some more reading. Sorry, because I think this is interesting.
Did we mention that we had gotten this? We've had this book for a while.
Yeah, we've had it for like a month and a half.
Yeah, like this is actually going to be episode 199, and
Yeah, it was. And we were gonna do a game. That game we did with the last game we did. We were gonna use the boarding action rules, but then they pushed it back once and then pushed it back twice. Now, honestly, we should have recorded this then.
Yeah.
So that we could have just released it and had a free week. But whatever, I didn't have the will in the holidays.
It was
the holidays. We're all in misery.
Yeah. I think I was still finishing up my semester. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Fair.
All right. So story time.
Boarding Actions is a new expansion for Warhammer 40,000, offering players all kinds of exciting, unique ways. Yada yada yada. Oh, no, that's not what I wanted to read. There was a thing where it was like, "Hey, oh wait, no, hold on. Here we go. No, not there either. Don't worry, I'm cool.
That's what happens.
I'm cool. No, I don't know where I read it, but it talks about how this is, a series of books, and each one is going to give new interesting ways to play Warhammer 40K.
Right.
And I think it's setting up for every one of these books having a different way to play Warhammer.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me.
So I would expect the next one to also have something a little different. Kind of like, we had the Crusade mission packs with their different ways to play.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So I'm wondering if something similar is going to be happening here.
Well, one thing is, we did read all these 6 weeks ago, and I remember when we were talking about this in our chats that the boarding actions is very, very close to the original Zone Mortalis.
Mm-hmm.
Like the setup, the way it was done. There's some things that are different, but it's like, as I was reading, it was like, yeah, that's the old rule set. That's the old rule set. That's the old rule set.
There's quite a bit in here that's similar. Similar to how it used to be. Similar. There's a lot of similarities to how Games Workshop has been doing, like the kill team stuff.
Yeah.
And I think we did a the Blackstone Fortress
Mm-hmm.
rules, that like merging Blackstone Fortress rules with 40K
Yeah.
or Kill Team and stuff. And we took some of those rules and melded them in with our Zone Mortalis rules. And this is like a very pared down version of all of that. So
Yeah.
I think they're trying to make it a less confusing. They don't want to pile rules upon rules, as they've been doing. With a lot of the Crusade stuff, they try not to put too many rules in the missions because there's already a lot going on.
And the other thing is that, I mean, we're going to talk about this as we go through. This is just kind of us spitballing, I guess.
Uh-huh.
The list for boarding actions is 500 points.
Yes.
That ain't much.
No.
That's, one of the things that we kind of laugh about with the Horus Heresy Zone Mortalis stuff, and we've laughed about this with Eric from Lost the Nails, is the 1,000 point entry for Zone Mortalis is a great way to end up with a 5,000 point army in the future.
Yeah.
And so I think that this is one of those things where, hey, you don't really want to collect Necrons, but you know what, you would like to play them for boarding action, or you don't want to play orcs because you don't want to invest in all that, but maybe you want to do a 500 point orc army, which that never happens. But this could be one of those ways that you do that. That's a little more intense than Kill Team, but not 40K, not like a big army.
And you don't have to like buy vehicles or anything like that.
Right.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Let's get into it. So the battlefield is weird. It's like 48 by 27 or something.
Yeah,
so
but there's something
that is
funny
a weird.
about
It is funny. So it's made up of 3.5-inch squares called zones.
Yeah.
Arranged in a 12 by 7 grid.
So
this
here's
seems
what makes me laugh about that. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, it's like it gives you some really weird deployments.
Yeah.
So since it's so long and narrow, you can set it up so your little deployment squares are either far away from each other or close to each other. Like, I actually understand I think I can kind of get why it's set up like that.
So I'm going to, as y'all can't see this, the video camera between Adam and I have this picnic table that I do all of my work on. I use them instead of buying nice tables. And it is literally 27 inches wide. Literally. Okay. It might be 26 and a half, it might be 27 and a half, but it's right there at about 27, and this one's 27 by 6 foot. Okay. So it could be easily used for this. I mean, it's just, as I was looking at the numbers, I was like, wait a second. So, yeah. And, maybe they've gone through and said, hey, let's go through and, most people can find a table like this at, Walmart or, Sam's or Costco or whatever. Yeah.
I'm with you.
Way. Yeah.
I'm feeling you. And so they're designed to help you place. So the squares and stuff are all on there in a way in that grid, because then the terrain you put on it, it's the terrain from the Into the Dark set. So the box, the $210 box that's on pre-order now is basically 2 sets of the Into the Dark.
So, oh, nice. Okay.
The one for Kill Team.
Yeah.
And all of the walls are designed to fit perfectly in. Well, I would say the board is fit so you can put the walls perfectly on the squares.
Got it. Okay.
And you can set up the terrain in more easily, because it's not like the Zone Mortalis where the walls are stuck to the floor.
Yeah.
You need to be able to arrange the walls in a way that isn't all discombobulated. Like I don't mind doing it with my wooden one, but this is really nice. Actually having a guide on the board so you can put the walls in a logical spot.
Yeah, I'm looking at the maps. I do have that Zone Mortalis, those tiles, and 48 by 27 inches. That's one of the old sets, and I could easily set that up. Although I wouldn't be able to do the same maps, but if I was going to do other stuff, it'd be easy.
I really hope somebody does the Into the Dark set on Tabletop Simulator. I'm going to try, if I have time tonight, I'll sit down when I'm hanging out with Wendy. I'll try to start working on a base board for us to use this.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to get some I'm going to have to do some resizing and make the little squares and put them on the board and stuff. But I'll try to get this fired up so that for our next episode we can have a Arks of Omen, maybe we won't do the next game we were gonna do though, because that was supposed to be a bigger game.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll do the Votan who were stuck out in space. They were sucked into space.
Oh yeah.
Maybe we'll do them trying to get back into the ship.
Okay, that works.
I think that might be fun.
Yeah.
Okay. So Crusade, note that some of the agendas might not be appropriate for boarding actions, and that any ones relating to deployment zones should be ignored. The entry zones in the boarding actions don't count as deployment zones. Both players get 1 CP every command phase. For measurement, it's around corners, just like our ZM rules and the various other ZM style rules in recent GW publications. So if you have, say, a Voxcaster that has a range of 24 inches, but that seems like long, but on this board, you actually have to if you're on the other side of it, you have to draw around because it represents the signal having to go pass through all those walls and stuff, right?
Yeah.
And if there is no way to draw a line through, it counts as being infinitely far away. You have no range on it.
Yeah. All right, then for line of sight, if you can draw a line from any part of your base to any part of the enemy base, you can see them.
Yes.
So special rules that let you shoot enemy units, even if you can't see them, can't be used in boarding actions.
Kind of like mortars.
Yeah, mortars.
No barrage.
Yeah, barrage. If you're shooting at an enemy and every part of the base of at least one model in that unit draws a clear line to every part of the enemy base, they are in the clear and they don't get a cover save. Otherwise, they get a cover save of +1.
Right, and remember, in this case, it's not from model to model, so you still want to roll all of your shooting all at once. You don't want to be rolling one gun at a time.
Yeah, because that's forever.
That's what Kill Team is for.
Yeah.
So what this is if one model in your unit can clearly see a model in the enemy unit without any interference, it's not going to get a cover save.
Yeah. Let me see. There's a section about rules that remove the benefits of cover, and those seem to be more probably.
I'm so confused by what they're saying here.
I need to go back and reread it.
I'll read it to you right now. It makes no sense. It's one of those things where they try to say something very specific, and since it's so specific, it doesn't make any sense anymore.
I wonder if it has to do with certain weapons that are only specific to one or two armies.
Yeah. Each time a ranged weapon is allocated to a model, that model will receive the benefits of cover against that attack unless it is fully visible to any models in the attacker's unit. That's fine. Okay. While a model is receiving the benefits of cover against the attack, add 1 to the saving throw made against that attack. So basically, if you're in the clear, you don't get a bonus to your save. However, if any part of if your base is obscured at all, you get a +1 to your cover save.
Okay.
Now, here's the part that's confusing. In addition to any rules that say the target of an attack does not receive the benefits of cover against that attack, This benefit will not apply to any attack that is affected by a rule that says the target does not receive the benefits of light cover or dense cover.
Oh, this is psychic. That's for probably psychic stuff.
I think that means... I think some rules say benefit of cover. Okay, so I think benefit of cover sometimes only means light cover or dense cover.
Okay.
Or something. I have no idea what's going on, and I think it just means that if a unit, I think some cover bonuses don't apply when someone ignores the benefits of cover.
Right.
So I think they're just saying here, if you have ignores the benefits of cover, it works here.
Okay.
But I'm not sure if it does. It says this benefit will not apply. I don't know what's going on.
I have a feeling this is some very specific rules that only show up in a couple of codexes.
Right. And I don't know. I feel like if something says this weapon, cover say units do not receive the benefits of cover against this weapon, I would just say that's fine. That it works if you would normally have cover in this game, because I don't know what's going on with that paragraph.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Okay, so models also block line of sight and boarding actions. If you can't drive a line through a unit without crossing over the bases, the models on the other site can't be targeted. Models.
So if you have like 3 models right in base contact between you and the enemy, you can't shoot.
Yeah, you have to target the closest one, I guess. Yeah.
You have to target whoever you can. Yeah, whoever you can see. Yeah.
So models in the same unit also actually can't shoot an enemy if their fellow warriors are totally blocking their line of sight. So that's actually going to come up later.
Yeah.
One of the things I talk about. The way the rules read, it seems that if intervening models are actually slightly blocking line of sight, then the models being targeted will actually get a cover save. Yeah, there's, you've got the press of bodies.
Yeah.
It's
just unfortunate. It would be great if there could be you could accidentally hit the people in between instead. How cool would that be? But then you're really getting into the weeds then.
Yeah.
So in shooting only, wounds cannot be allocated to models that the firing unit cannot see. So this is kind of a 7th edition thing.
Yeah.
So if you only see 2 models in a unit and the other 3 models are like on the other side of the wall, you can only kill the front 2 models.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, be careful with your sergeants, people.
That is pure 7th edition. Okay.
Yeah, and that could get spicy. That could get real spicy.
Especially with some of the other rules that will be showing up. Okay.
Yeah. That's not true for combat. It's really only shooting. You only need line of sight for any witch fire powers. And any rules that require you to target the closest can ignore any enemy you can't see.
Oh, nice.
So if that stands to reason from the measurement rules. Like the measurement rules say you don't have line of sight to a unit. You're infinitely far away from units that you can't see, right?
Yeah.
So in this case, if someone's on this like 2 inches away from you but behind a wall, and then someone's 10 inches away from you down the hallway and you can see them, you can smite the people who are 10 inches away that you can see. You're not blocked from that would be idiotic if you couldn't target them just because someone's on the other side of the wall.
Yeah.
Hatchways.
That's really good.
How they manage hatchways I think it's really good. We'll see. I'm still a little bit concerned about progressing through the zone. However, the zones are so narrow that I think you're only going to need to go through 1 or 2 doors during a game. So hatchways, engagement range through an open doorway is 2 inches. But just remember that multi-rank fighting is still only with like a half inch within models that are within a half inch of the enemy. So just because you're within engagement range, that doesn't mean like 2 inches. You're within 2 inches and you're within engagement range. That doesn't mean someone within a half inch of that person's also gets to fight. That doesn't.
Yeah.
That's not how it works. Models of any size on any base size can move through the hatchways. So if a hatchways, I don't know how big they are. I think they're like 1.5 inches. So if you're on a 50 millimeter base for some reason, you can still go through the doorway. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. But you can't stop moving partway through a hatchway. You have to be able to clear it to go.
Okay.
So if you
one or the other.
only have, if you have like an extra inch of movement to get into a door, you can't do it. You have to stop before you go in the door. You'll have to go through next turn. If an enemy is within engagement range after you open a hatch, you count as being within engagement range, but you don't count as having charge. So if you walk up to a door and open it and haha, surprise, there's somebody right in front of you.
Right.
You are now in engagement range. You can't shoot your assault weapons or anything. You can't, you can only like shoot your pistol or something.
Right. Okay.
Because you're now fighting, but you don't count as having charged.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So, continuing, objective markers. Objective markers are 40 millimeter and control range is 1 inch. 40 millimeters, is the Terminator size, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, my objective markers are all working. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, I think for the most part, people are using 40 mils at this point.
All right, charging and heroic intervention. You can't charge or heroically intervene against an enemy you can't see. Duh.
That's nice.
Yeah. Pilot and consolidation. Anytime you go to pilot or consolidate, if you can't end the move within engagement range of an enemy unit, then you can't perform the move.
I am wondering if that last part is going to be in 10th edition. I'm wondering if you're just not going to be allowed to do a pile-in move or a consolidate move unless you're within unless it would take you within engagement range of an enemy.
That wouldn't surprise me.
It would stop a lot of shenanigans. There's some serious shenanigans going on with people doing heroic interventions,
right?
And pile-ins and consolidates just to kind of move around. And I mean, I guess it's the sign of a good player, but I don't care, narrative play, I don't give a crap. But
yeah,
like it is kind of janky sometimes. And charging someone you can't see is definitely something we do right now.
Yeah.
To avoid Overwatch, and you just can't do it in here. You can't charge someone unless you can see them.
Okay. So actions, we have secure sight, which OBSEC units can start to perform this action at the end of their movement phase, and it finishes at the start of your next command phase. The objective remains under your side's control until the enemy takes it. I like that.
Yeah, it keeps them.
I do.
When you only have 500 points of models,
yeah,
and you have like 5 objectives on the battlefield,
yeah,
you can't just sit there with a model.
That's right.
They need to engage, and we've had that problem in our Zone Mortalis games recently. I think, where we haven't been able to do anything with our entire army because they've had to sit on objectives. And I like this. I think that makes so much sense for this. To have the sticky objectives.
I'll be honest. I'm hoping that goes to 10th edition.
Oh yeah, I think. Well, right now they do have some missions that do it. But not all of them. Okay. Not all of them do it.
All right.
I think it would be smart.
Set Overwatch. There is no Overwatch stratagem and boarding actions. Instead, you perform an action to set Overwatch. That goes back to like 4th edition. Yeah,
you're deliberately setting Overwatch.
Yeah.
So if you're using your action to set Overwatch, you deserve to take it. That's part of I think that's part of the reason why you're not allowed to charge someone unless you can see them, because then they get to Overwatch you if they've gone through the trouble of setting Overwatch.
Set to defend. There's no train to speak of in boarding action as such, so you can use this action to set to defend, similar to the terrain ability. It gives you a +1 save in combat.
Right.
I like that.
So you can say, I'm setting to defend instead of, well, especially if you're a close combat unit, there's literally no point in setting for Overwatch.
Yeah.
So if someone charges you, you'll at least get a +1 save.
Yeah, that's actually...
Wait, was it +1 save or +1 attack? I feel like I messed that up, Jason.
Well...
I feel like I wrote that down wrong, and I'm kind of gun shy since the Votan book.
Can we say debacle? I just like the word debacle. I don't know.
I mean, sure.
Even though it wasn't a debacle, because I wasn't aware there was something that was an issue.
Yeah. No, it's fine. I guess, you know, it was somewhat of a debacle. It's just like, you know, it's just it's not really my strong suit here. +1 to hit. I thought I messed that up. Yeah, +1 to hit, not +1 save.
That's still, I mean, either one. Operate hatchway can be performed if no enemy units are within engagement range. Action is basically immediate as long as there are no enemies on the other side of the door. An enemy near the door can try to stop if you want. Oh, I love that. You roll off using the strength of one model within 1 inch of the hatch, and if you beat them, you get to open the door.
It's pretty cool, right?
Yeah, that is cool. It's a fun way to go through and
you can
say,
fight over. Let us in, let us in, let us out, let us out. Yeah. No, it's fantastic.
All right. In stratagems, the only stratagems are command reroll, counteroffensive, and insane bravery. I love this. Can I just say that?
Oh, I knew you would.
Man, yeah.
I know, I get it.
Yeah. I mean,
you can't even use your army stratagems though. I think that's boring. But I get it.
There's other things that can be done with army that are fun, I hope. Anyway, so yeah, let's talk about the rosters.
Yeah, army rosters, 500 points. The detachment is 0 to 1 HQ, 0 to 3 troops, and 0 to 3 elites.
See, that's perfect. That is perfect for someone wanting to start a new army.
It is. You should start a new army, everybody.
Yeah.
You can't select monsters, vehicles, jump pack, cavalry, biker, or fly units.
Yeah.
Weird. I think the jump pack thing is weird, but that's fine. You can getting rid of that gets rid of a bunch of problematic units.
Yeah.
You can only include one character. Unit sizes are super weird. So if a minimum size is less than 5, you can only have one of that unit, and you can only have them at the minimum size. So if you have, like, what's a 3 model? Like obliterators. Flamers. You can only have a unit of 3 of those. You can't take a unit of 6. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
If the minimum size is 5 and you're normally allowed to go up to 10, you can go up to 10.
Yeah.
But later when it has to be 10. It can't be 8 or whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
Later, you actually kind of combat squad them into subunits called boarding squads.
Yep.
So if you have a 10 model infantry squad from Astra Militarum, they get broken down into 2 5 model units.
Yeah. Did we actually say what the detachments were? 0 to 1 HQ, 0 to 3 troops, and 0 to 3 elites?
I forget. It's like boarding action or whatever.
Yeah, I think I jumped the gun on that. Sorry.
No, it's fine. I didn't even say it. I didn't write it down, so it doesn't matter. So there are special army rules that are out now.
Yep.
That let you break these rules. So, and later on, I think, in that paragraph that I can't find said that it was later there was going to be more rules for army specific rules for this.
Yeah.
But for now, it's in a PDF on Warcom. So let me open it up. We're each going to do our army.
I'm doing both Thousand Suns and Demons because I'm running both of those.
Fair. So there's one. Okay, so this actually brings something up that has been brought up on the internet like already when this first came out. There is and I think everybody knows what I'm going to talk about. The Agents of the Imperium includes the Adeptus Custodes, and there's no Adeptus Custodes models yet.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Yep. So we'll see. It'll be interesting to see some Custodes models. It would be good to. I mean, I think boarding actions is a great way to include the Custodes, or at least kill team.
Were you talking about Arbites?
Sorry, Arbites, not Custodes.
Yeah. Okay.
Everybody was yelling at me a moment ago. Jason was yelling at me. Yes, Arbites.
Sorry.
Arbites. Whatever.
Yeah, because
I'm
we
tired.
were talking about that online. It was like, oh, the Arbites are going to show up. That would actually be kind of fun.
Yeah, maybe another dog. I want to see another dog. More dogs, please.
Yeah. I just realized I have a Custodes army that could be played with this. That's
and it does. I mean, there's also like Agents of the Imperium is like a selection now.
Yeah.
In and of itself. So I am expecting like the like all of these Imperial weirdos to maybe have a better way of building an army, which will be really good for me and my Navis Imperialis or whatever, my Rogue Trader force. Feeling a little weird about the Astra Militarum right now, so we'll see. So if you're Astra Militarum, you can include up to 3 character models, but only one of these can have a wounds characteristic of 5 or more. So you can include a couple of the weird characters if you want, like the attaches or the rogue psych. I don't know how many wounds the rogue psyker has, but either way, or the sanctioned psyker has. But you can have 2 weird characters,
and you can have a Chikero.
Yeah, attaché models. Well, this is Astra Militarum. Attaché models can be added to a command squad unit. Oh, that's where the attaché goes. To increase their size above 5, but no more than no more than 1 attaché model can be included. And you don't split it, so they actually get to have 6 models in the unit. You can add 1. You can only add 1 servitors unit to your boarding patrol. And it includes an engine seer. When forming your boarding squads, do not split infantry into separate units. Oh, so I guess they just walk around as 10 models.
Yeah.
If your faction is Astra Militarum, you have these rules adaptations. Recon operators doctrine is changed to the recon operators is the one that lets you move. At the start of the first battle round, 1 unit with this doctrine that has enemy model within one of your entry zones can make a normal move, or every model within one of your zones can make a normal move up to 6 inches. So not like everybody. That would be way powerful, and it's been it's been okay in our games.
Yeah,
that does apply to me. The Psychic Maelstrom psychic power has a warp charge of 8. So a bunch of these do have warp charge changes. So I think the jump got changed to warp charge 11 because it's really powerful.
Right.
In Zone Mortalis. I suspect that your misdirection power is also going to go up.
Yeah. There's all
some
sorts
things.
Of stuff.
Yeah, models with the aerial drop ability lose that ability for the battle. So you can't just tell. I wasn't doing that anyways.
Yeah.
With my Scions, I think the Scions are the ones who have it. I think you can't aerial drop into a Zone Mortalis. You know what I'm saying? I think that's fair.
Hey man, the Kool-Aid Man can do it, you know.
That's really true. So I wanted to note like another model, like the Orcs. You can actually take a heavy support, but it has to be flash kits.
Yeah.
Okay,
that makes sense.
So there's all kinds of the jump is psychic charge 11, or warp charge 11. So like each time an attack made with a tank hammer misses the target, the bearer is destroyed and its unit suffers D3 mortal wounds.
Oh, nice. That's a ricochet, man. That is a ricochet.
That makes me so happy. So anyways, look at this PDF. You need to see what. Okay, so Jason, what did changed for the Thousand Suns in Boarding Patrol?
Okay, so there's a few things. And some of these things are actually. I'm trying to think of how I can put this nicely. They should already be existent. Like, for instance, all Great Cult units in your boarding patrol must be from the same Great Cult, which I think that your whole army should be, but, whatever. Mm-hmm. That happens all the time where they take multiple cults. You can include one fast attack slot, but only if it's a Chaos Spawn unit, which,
Yes.
if you've played Thousand Suns, I think that's the only fast attack you have. You cannot include more than one unit of cultists, and the combined total number of cultists and Bray units cannot exceed the number of Rubric Marine units. So they don't want you to run a cultist list or a Bray list. They want this to actually be Thousand Suns.
I think they do the same thing with Gretchen and Orcs.
That makes sense. You cannot upgrade any models in your army to have any Legion command upgrades, which is probably better because you don't want to Monty Hall your your main character or your HQ. Let's see what else. So here's where it gets fun. So like we did talk about how you have 500 points. If you have a maximum size detachment, you have to split them into boarding squads, right? And with Thousand Suns, your rubric squad can have 4 rubrics and an aspiring sorcerer, or 9 rubrics and an aspiring sorcerer. And if you split those, one of those squads is not going to have a sorcerer. So, for Rubric Marines and for Scarab Occult Terminators, if they don't contain an aspiring sorcerer or a Scarab Occult Sorcerer, after you form your boarding squads, that small squad loses the Psyker keyword and loses the Sorceress Master ability. So, yeah, they can't be psychic. This next one I really dig. A Thousand Suns Chaos Spawn unit has the following ability, which is Fated Mutation. Every time that's selected to fight, you don't have to roll to determine which mutated beyond reasonability applies. Just pick the result you wish, which is actually a little bit better. It's not as chaotic, so I don't know if I agree with it, but you know what? We'll just go with it. It'll still be fun. And the rest of it's just changes to Kabbalistic rituals and psychic powers. Malevolent Charge Kabbalistic Ritual costs 5 Cabal points instead of 4. For the purposes of Warp Reality, Psychic Power, only open hatchways are considered to be terrain features, which I don't use that power, and I'm trying to remember what it was. Sorcerer's Facade Psychic Power, which I use all the time because it is a Cult of Duplicity power, now has a Warp Charge of 11. Up from 7. That's
in Zone
teleport.
Mortalis.
Yeah,
that was busted face anyway, so that's fine.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, I figured you'd probably dig that one. Baleful Devolution, which I don't remember that one either. Warp Charge of 9, Dark Blessing Charge of 9, and Temporal Surge Warp Charge of 9. So they just went through and raised a few of those. But there's the standards though. Smite. The healing one, I can't remember the name of it. That one's still pretty decent. It's not a big deal.
Like temporal manipulation or something.
Yeah, that's
go back in time and don't get hurt.
Yeah, that's literally the one. So that's pretty cool. Spawn are the only attack choice, but I think I mentioned that. So that's 1,000 Suns, and then for the Chaos Demons, because I had to look them up too, since I am running demons. Why, yes, you can take flamers. That's actually like the second point. The first one is, hey, you can include one fast attack slot, but only if it's a flesh hound. It's like, I don't think I've ever run a flesh hound. Okay. Flamers can be included, even though they had the fly keyword, but an exalted flamer model cannot have an enhancement, so I'm not sure. I had to go and look at that.
Yeah, I suspect you can take like scarabs, even though they're fly units.
Yeah.
They're just going through and trying to say, okay, some flying units make sense, some flying units don't make sense.
Right.
So it's better to just say, you can't take flying units. Oh wait, but except these guys that make a little bit of sense to have in the game.
And here's a good one. When forming boarding squads, do not split blue horror units into separate units. Because that would be a way to... You could easily max out a bunch of troop choices with just blue horrors, and if you split them, you would spawn them all over the place. Yeah, it'd be overwhelming for any sort of OBSEC stuff. Rules adaptations. All models use the fly keyword if they have it while they're on the battlefield. Good idea. A horde model splitting can increase the size of that model's boarding squad above starting size, which that needs to be in there. Each time you use Descending Shadow Warp Storm effect. Well, hold on. From now on, the rest of this is just talking about Warp Storm effects, like changing costs.
Right. No need to enumerate all of those.
Yeah, the thing is, I don't remember all of them.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. Necron, same thing, dude. You can take one fast attack slot, and it has to be scarabs, and they lose fly.
Okay, yeah. So basically, everything loses fly. That's probably why they kicked out jump pack Marines, at least.
Right, and I actually wonder if they just allow assault Marines. In that, because I mean, I feel like it would make sense if they could actually be in a boarding party, but they just don't use their jump packs when they are
during the game.
During the game. Yeah, I feel like that would make sense. Let me have a look here.
So in the old rules for Stone Mortalis, hey, I remember this. You could use your jump packs, but if you did, you start taking dangerous terrain checks.
Oh wait, here it is. You can include a fast attack, but if it is only if it's an assault squad that is not equipped with jump packs, or Fenrisian wolves.
Interesting. So you could still run them and just say, hey, they're not actually going to run their jump packs. So they just look pretty. Yeah.
All right. So.
All right. What's up?
Sorry. Oh, no. My breath was so stinky from coffee that I had to chew some gum. Anyways. Like I was disgusting myself, so that's fine. I apologize. I stayed away from the microphone, but I'm pretty sure people probably heard it anyways. So anyways, instead of using warlord traits or relics, your warlord gets access to one enhancement, which sounds a lot like the rules from Age of Sigmar. So there are 6 enhancements so far. We'll see if there are more upgrades in the future. They are superior boarding tactics. You get +2 CP. You only start with 1 CP in this too, so.
Oh man,
beautiful. Yeah. I knew you'd say that. Close. Jason and I have very differing opinions on stratagems. I don't know if you could tell from the past few
years
episodes or not. Yeah,
years.
Close quarters killer. Reroll wound rolls. Defensive linchpin. Units within 6 inches get hold steady when they overwatch, which lets them get a 5+ instead of a 6+ to overwatch. That's a good one for Astra Militarum.
Yeah.
Expert breacher, open a door as you move instead of after. So usually you only perform the open door at the end of movement. This one lets you open a door whenever with your warlords. So they just like YOLO. That'd be a good one for world eaters, I think.
Yeah, it
would
be.
Yeah, Kool-Aid Man.
Yeah.
Hey, Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
Personal teleporter, you get to deep strike.
Like
trademark. That's a pretty good one for this. Trademark weapon, increase strength and damage of one of your warlord's weapons. Very simple enhancements. Easy to keep track of. But also meaningful, which is also good. All right, let's talk about games, shall we?
Yeah, definitely. All right, let me scroll down. So missions have. Are you going to start?
Yeah, go ahead,
Okay.
buddy.
So missions have set terrain and set objectives. There's a helpful key for what each terrain piece is, and its correlating symbol on the setup maps. Players have set entry points on the battlefield. Players start with 1 CP. And I like this. Underdog. A player starting with at least 30 points less than their opponent might get an underdog bonus.
Yeah.
Now there's some narrative right there.
It's awesome. So here's the thing. All of these books, all of these codexes are starting to be written with free war gear.
Yeah.
Like all the war gear is just free except for like a couple things.
Yeah.
And 40K is starting to turn. So we've had power level for a while now,
Yeah.
And people don't like power level. So honestly, what is starting to happen is the points are starting to turn to be like Age of Sigmar points, where you can still have like 105 points or 275 points or whatever, which people find a little bit more palatable than 20 power level, 10 power level, or whatever. The fact that that extra tens place, or sorry, that extra ones place for 5 points is something people can stomach. So I think you're going to see a lot more of that. So the more we go towards a set point system where it's going to be harder and harder to get exactly 500 points.
Yeah.
Having an underdog bonus, which Age of Sigmar has as well. You get a it's called a triumph. If you're less than your opponent, you get access to your triumph, which could be once per game usually once per game you get to use a command ability for free or something like that.
That is cool.
It is cool. So in this case, a lot of the time the underdog bonus is +1 CP, which is essentially the same thing.
Okay. Yeah, it's not too bad.
No, 30 points for if you're 30 points less than your opponent, you deserve at least 1 CP for that.
Yeah, that's very true.
So deployment. So players alternate deploying 1 unit per entry zone. So these entry zones are 1 square on the battlefield, 3.5 inches by 3.5 inches, and they're almost always on the battlefield edge. Sometimes they're closer to the middle. In one of the missions, the underdog actually gets to use a advantageous entry point or entry zone. The unit has to fit, when you deploy a unit, it has to fit wholly within the entry zone. If it's too big to fit, it just needs to be amassed as close as possible to the center of the zone.
Right.
Also, your warlord, when it's placed, can be placed with one of your units as part of their drop, if you like.
Okay.
Using the same rules. Units can be deployed anywhere on the battlefield. Units that normally can be deployed anywhere on the battlefield instead deploy within 6 inches of an entry zone, and they count as a drop. So if commandos, normally you can place them anywhere on the battlefield with it 9 inches away from enemy deployment zone or enemy units.
Right.
In this, they would just be deployed 6 inches away from a starting zone.
Okay, that makes sense.
It's a little. Those units would be way busted if you could do that. Units that get to deploy after other units have been deployed still do so in the normal way. Like they usually take turns then deploying those. However, you still have to abide by the previous rules. You can't just deploy them in the middle of the battlefield. You have to. A lot of the time, those units get to be deployed outside of your deployment zone. In this case, it's as long as they're within 6 inches of an entry zone, they're fine.
Okay.
Every other unit gets put in strategic reserve. So if you have 5 units and there are only 3 entry zones, 2 of those units have to be put in strategic reserves.
Okay.
Yeah. Then models arriving via strategic reserves can do so by being deployed in each of their own entry zones during the game, at the start of the game. Or sorry, at the start of the turn. Or sorry. I think at the end of the movement phase, they can be deployed wholly within those entry zones.
Okay.
If it has another means of entering play, like teleport strike, they do get to still use that.
Oh, okay. Cool. Okay.
Yeah, that's why some of the abilities have been if the ability is narratively bad for working in Zone Mortalis, the aerial drop, you don't get to aerial drop because there's no air to aerial drop. But teleport strikes, those do make sense.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I'm still figuring out the whole teleportation sorcerer's facade thing for the Thousand Suns being a warp charge of 11. That's pretty hardcore, but it does go through and make sure that you don't have weird stuff going on.
Right, where people can just when
bounce.
a lot of the missions are based on doing actions and stuff on objectives that are, you have to like walk through the hallways, go through a door, face the enemy on the other side of the door, yada yada. If you could just teleport there, it would just be, well, this is stupid.
Right.
It's like giving a level 1 D&D party the ability to fly. It's literally the worst thing you could possibly do.
Not Fireball? Fireball is
well, no, it's actually worse than Fireball. Actually, if I'm being perfectly honest with you,
there's a reason I'm laughing about this.
Yeah. Models they can continue to arrive from strategic reserves until the 4th battle round, so 1 extra battle round than usual. The game ends after the 5th battle round. In all cases, progressive scoring starts at the start of the 2nd turn's command phase. So it's just like regular matched play progressive scoring.
Yeah.
The person going second gets to score at the end of their turn on the 5th battle round instead of not scoring at all.
Okay, that works.
Yeah. Okay, so I have kind of spelled out a bunch of these missions.
Yeah.
There's some interesting rules here. The first mission actually is not interesting at all, but there are some interesting rules. I try to keep it brief. I know we're starting to get long here, but I think it's worth talking about.
Well, there's not that many.
Some of them are interesting. The last 3 I just put what was interesting about them. I didn't actually talk about. I didn't write down everything. So, all right, Jason, why don't you talk about the first couple of missions?
So, Access Junction Primus. Oh, man. There's so many jokes with that. All right.
I mean, the objective is Winona's Big Brown.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's the Seas of Cheese. That's the objective. Mm-hmm.
We are sailing the warp rift of cheese.
Yeah. Hey, man, that works for me. All right, let's see. I'm actually having to play a game here with my cat to make sure he doesn't destroy anything. You might have seen him in the camera for a second there. All right. Battlefield, somewhat open area and a plus sign in the middle with objectives arranged across, invisible to one another. There are rooms in the 4 corners, is described in the mission briefing as a transit junction.
Right. So that's why it's kind of in this plus sign, because you're at a junction.
Yeah. Objectives, control 1, 2, or more objectives for 5 points each progressively. At the end of the game, score 15 each for having killed 125, 250, or 375 points of the enemy army. That's a lot. Underdog bonus, plus 1 command point.
Yeah.
Next.
So this just represents holding territory. Like, those objectives don't represent anything really.
Right.
They just represent you holding parts of that crossroads.
Yeah. And it looks like you get more points for killing stuff, Hold on. Come here, Zed.
Zed, go lay down.
All
go lay
right.
down. Did you pull a hammy picking that cat up?
Man, he's almost 11 pounds. So yeah, he's a big guy. All right, but he's gonna sit here on my arms and be annoyed with me while I raid. All right, deck sweepers. Battlefield entry zones along the long battlefield edges. Okay. And 4 objectives along the long center of the battlefield. Most objectives are fairly sectioned off. Objectives. Control 1 objective or more than your opponent for 5 each progressively at the end of the battle. Score 15 for each objective you control. So this is definitely
just a take and hold type mission, yeah.
Underdog bonus. They get to use an entry zone at the start of the game in an advantageous position near the middle of one flank. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, that's really cool. I like that. Now, here's where the missions start to get a little bit more interesting. The pipeline, the battlefield has 2 big rooms in the northwest and southeast corners, so they're as far away as they could possibly be from each other. And all along the corridors, all along the board are just corridors between them. Objectives are in the corridors, so it kind of represents this pipeline running through the ship.
Yeah.
2 objectives are labeled A and 2 are labeled B, and they are each. There's one of each in the north and the south.
Okay.
They're actually really close to each other, but there's walls between them.
Right.
So it's this interesting thing where you can increase the distance between objectives just by putting walls in between them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like it's like you're creating these giant battlefields on a small space just because of the fact that there's so much distance you have to walk to get there by the nature of this game type.
I'm wondering, I need to go and look at the maps and look at my Zone Mortalis train to see just how close is this to the old ZM boards, you know?
Like you can set up a 24 by 48 and probably be fine as long as you've got enough corridors. But I think the corridors in this are going to be a bit tighter, and duplicating these, because I was trying to duplicate these with the default Zone Mortalis boards for our game, the last game we played, and it's tough. Okay. It's not easy. You can fake it.
Yeah.
If you have enough doors to put in place or wall sections that you can close it off with, you could probably get away with it.
Yeah, there's the problem. I don't have a whole lot of doors.
Right. The objective is, hold 1, hold 2, hold more, yada, yada. But you also get points for holding both A markers and both B markers. In that one.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. Power struggle. This is a cool one. It's fairly open corridors with a bunch of dead ends. It's kind of like a maze more than a bunch of rooms.
Right.
There's one objective in the center and 4 others in the corners, and none of them have LOS of each other. And there are graphics in the book that connect the 4 corner objectives with power lines. Now, there's no terrain that connects these. You just know that the 4 objectives in the box connect in power lines.
Oh, okay.
Your objective is to control 1, control 2, control more, or control 2 or more that are directly linked by power lines.
Oh.
And that's neat. I think you could even go further than that. You can do more with the power line story.
Okay.
Like maybe even remember the Necron mission where if you activated the power lines, like models in between the 2 power lines could get electrocuted.
Yeah.
I think you could do something neat with that too. So anyways, and also plus 10 VP for slaying the warlord.
Yeah.
All right, Jason, Death in the Dark. This one, why don't you do Death in the Dark and I'll do Hull Breach.
Okay, cool. Death in the Dark. Not a metal album, although it should be. Battlefield, fairly sectioned off regions, but not really many rooms. So 2 small rooms to the north look like elevator shafts. In the north, there are 2 objectives across from each other, which are visible to each other. There's one in the center, then one in the south, and the entire north board is labeled Lighting Area 1, and south is Lighting Area 2. Oh, I think I know where this is from. Okay.
Well, yeah.
Lights out, mission rules. At the end of each player's movement phase, roll for each lighting area. On a 1 to 3, the lights go out until the end of the turn. If the attacking unit or the target unit is totally within the dark area, enemies outside of 9 inches may not be targeted by a shooting attack, and units within 9 inches have a -1 to hit them. In the charge phase, if the unit is outside of 9 inches, they may not be charged. And within 9 inches, the charging unit has a -1 to charge. Objectives: control 1, 2, or more progressively at the end of each battle. At the end of the battle, score 15 each if they control both the objectives in each lighting area. Underdog bonus +1 CP. Real quick, we didn't talk about this.
Yeah.
And I remember reading it, but that doesn't mean it wasn't there. Do they have the blip rule?
No.
Okay. I didn't think I saw it, but sometimes I don't catch things. Okay, go for it.
So you score at the end. You score. If you're holding both of the objectives in that lighted area, you're kind of like,
you've won.
You race one.
Yeah.
What I think you should do at this one is get your painting lamps out.
Yeah.
And put 1 on each side of the battlefield.
Yeah.
and actually turn the lights off from your painting lamp in that area.
Oh.
And the lights go off.
Yeah.
I think that would be a neat way to do it.
Yeah, that would be.
I think I've done that before. I think it was with D&D though. I can't remember. Anyways.
Yeah, that's
Hull
a neat
Breach.
One. Yeah. Yeah, give us Hull Breach.
There are 4 distinct rooms sectioned off north to south, each with an objective.
Yeah.
And then there are 2 additional rooms, one in the north. So there's two rooms in the north, the very far north, 2 rooms in the very far south, and then 2 more rooms in between, basically. 6 rooms. Each room does have an entry zone, and each room is marked compartment 1 through 6. Okay?
Yeah.
So deadly decompression mission rule. At the start of each battle round, the attacker rolls a d6. On a 3+, a random compartment decompresses.
Ooh.
So all of the doors in that compartment close, and each unit in the compartment suffers d3 mortal wounds. Units in a vented area have -1 inch movement, and all attacks are resolved at +1 AP. That's so cool.
Yeah,
what a great way to do that. The objective is data retrieval. You can use a download data cores action on each of the 4 objectives once.
Yeah.
For 15 points each. So, and you can port that objective pretty much anywhere. Just kind of hanging out. This is a great mission, by the way. So you can only perform the action on each of the objectives once, because each data core has a specific data in it that you need.
Okay.
You're also scoring progressively. Oh, I really liked Hull Breach's flavor text. So
I've got it pulled up. If you want me to read it, or you got it?
Oh yeah, go ahead. Yeah,
Okay.
Each of these missions, all these missions that say hold 1, hold 2, hold more, is very simplistic. But the way they actually describe it is sometimes interesting. Go ahead.
All right. So Hull Breach, hammered by enemy fire amidst a roiling void war, caught in the inexorable drag of a black hole, plummeting towards a fiery death in a planet's atmosphere, caught in the unholy corona of a warp storm. Whatever horrible fate is tearing this void ship apart, it threatens to take your warriors with it. Unfortunately, there is vital data contained in cogitator banks deep within the ship. While the enemies still threaten to seize that intelligence for themselves, evacuation is not an option.
Mm-hmm. Now,
that is a good flavor text.
It's good flavor text, but I was actually referring to the flavor text for the lame objective.
Oh, the lame objective.
They're actually trying to justify the hold 1, hold 2, hold more objective. That it's just not just some.
That one. Okay.
It's not just some objective, like some rule that they're using to determine success. They actually try to come up with a narrative reason why you're doing that.
Okay, so here we go. Data retrieval.
It's temporary stabilization.
Oh, temporary stabilization. Okay. The ship might be disintegrating, but if you can secure key points through this deck, it should be possible to lock down hatchways and reroute life support long enough to complete your mission. With luck, you might even hold an extraction route open so that some of your warriors can escape alive. Oh, cool. So like a fighting retreat. Okay.
Right. So like you holding that objective for 1 turn gives you access to certain things, like certain controls on the ship that you're using to save other people's lives or to make the battle go better for yourself elsewhere on the ship.
Yeah. Okay.
So I thought that was really cool.
That is pretty sweet. Yeah.
Jason, you want to like give the special rules for the next 3 ones? Okay. There's some interesting things in here.
So we've got the control center. Basically, control of objectives gives you control of the hatchways.
Cool. That's a neat idea, right?
Yeah. The next one I had to look up because I love the name, the furnace. Control of a specific room provides extra CP to use. The furnace room can be deadly if the person controlling it wants to turn on the burners. And there's actually in the thing, the furnace room is marked. So you could go through and, set an entire group on. And as I'm looking at the map, there are 2 objectives in the furnace room.
Oh yeah, and you get bonus points for holding those too.
Yeah, that's
So you
Yeah.
want to be in the furnace room, but if someone else has control of the furnace room, they're going to burn you.
I have a question. Do the salamanders just ignore?
Well, they should.
Does turning on the furnace actually give them a +1 strength and toughness bonus?
Yes, they should. They should. Yeah.
All right, last one. Rad leak. So there are sectors marked from north to south, A, B, C, and D. Radiation exposure rolls from north to south throughout the game. It starts in Sector A as mild exposure. Oh, this is going to be awful. Okay, then on turn 2, Sector B suffers mild exposure, while Sector A suffers high exposure. And as the turns progress, the intensity increases in previous sectors and expands the next sector south. Mild rads are -1 leadership. High rad adds -1 movement, and extreme rad adds -1 toughness. Oh. There's a big bonus at the end for controlling the objectives in the critical exposure zone to the south. So if you can sit there on that one in the south the entire time, good luck. You'll need it.
Yeah. You're going to need it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I like the environmental stuff for Hull Breach and Rad Leak. I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
The furnace that gives you that starts to give you ideas of different other kinds of rooms that there might be in Zone Mortalis, or in one of these hulks, and what special rules it might have. And you could set up anything like a teleportarium that you could use to, your objective is to teleport your units off the battlefield onto a different battlefield.
Or like, okay, hear me out. This one just came to my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Like a freezer room, like a deep freeze, like you would, store food, and like the room's kind of malfunctioning, and so sometimes it's fine, and other times it's whatever Kelvin, 5 Kelvin, where it's that opposite of rad leak, but it's the same thing.
Let's hope you're not wearing cotton.
Oh yeah, well, sorry to be.
Your guys are all wearing skin, anyways. That's fine. And don't forget about what we talked about earlier about the wardings, the flesh metal gangliaxos, warp portal, obelisk gain, and the ferryman. Like, you can set up games that include those systems somehow. And I'm surprised they kind of didn't, but they kind of. I mean, these are very generic. So I am hoping for some more specific stuff later, but honestly, the only thing that they've really promised is more faction specific. So
what would be fun?
I don't know.
Hey, okay, so I'm just sitting there thinking of the various kill team books I've read, or faux kill team, but like maybe a Orc kitchen.
Yes.
Okay, good. You know where I'm going with this. Like, instead of the furnace room, it's the squig pit.
Yeah, the food bites back, dude.
Yeah, there's so many. This could get real silly real quick, but then again, that's that's what this should be, is silly and quickly.
Yeah, just think of watch a few episodes of Farscape or of the Expanse or Star Trek or whatever, and just try to think of any crazy spaceship room that you've seen on those movies or shows, and you can recreate anything here with this, or at least this is a starting point.
Sorry, I'm still on the Orc kitchen and in Couchman's what was it? His food trucks.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Okay, cool. That's in my brain. All right.
It should be. It should be in all our brains. So, okay. So we're going to take a little bit of a break. We're going to come back and we're going to talk about what we're going to do next.
Hey, Archons, does 9th edition have you feeling like the Slith Party Bus just doesn't have enough party for you? Well, if you want to put a little shock back into your shock brow, you need the Slith Party On! That's right, Archons. For 736 points, you can take 3 Archons, 12 Slith, and a Tantalus. It's the Slith Party On! Now, I know what you're thinking. Couldn't I take Drazar? 15 incubi and a Tantalus, aka the Incubi Murder Boat, for 51 less points? Sure you could, but it wouldn't be the Slip Party On! But is it legal? Oh yeah! Is it awesome? Oh yeah! Is it any good on the table? No! It's the all-new Slith Party On. Sort of awesome. Party On! Really hilarious. Party On! It's the Slith Party On!
Oh, we've reached level 6. Welcome back. So next time we get together, let's play one of these games. I would really love to play the hull breach mission with the space dwarf section of my crusade force.
Okay.
Trying to get back in the ship, basically.
Okay.
But they have to pass through a section of the ship that's suffered some hull breaches due to the fact that you've taken control of the forward weapons batteries.
Right.
So the little Thousand Suns vessel has been doing some hit and run attacks on the ship, and there have been a few minor hull breaches on the ship. So those are the areas where the Votan are the space dwarfs are trying to re-enter that way, but also they're trying to lock down any demons that might be also getting in through those open.
This could be a chance to start introducing rubrics in.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. So like maybe that's it. It's not like that they've been shooting at the ship. They fired a boarding torpedo, and a squad or two of rubrics or whatever have gotten in that way. Yeah. And so I'm trying to stop the rubrics from getting in. Yeah, I love it. Let's do it.
We got it. Cool.
We did it. We did the narrative thing. Congratulations.
Yes, listeners, this is how we do work. It's rather entertaining.
It is. It is. Well, it was fun talking, and I'm really excited about this. Yeah. Listeners, sorry we didn't actually get around to actually doing a game, but honestly, we had to release that episode before. Yeah. So we had to play it using the old rules. Yeah. So we'll play a new one with the new rules, and Jason already definitely is committed to doing this, to editing this tomorrow. So great, good for him. That was nice.
I'm probably editing it tonight. So
yeah. Oh, really? Oh, very nice. So it might be released.
I've got to record I've got to record a concert tomorrow.
Oh, so yeah, that's why.
Yeah,
okay,
the silly season has begun.
Yeah. Oh, tomorrow I'm going to go see Tracy Morgan.
Oh,
with Wendy.
Oh.
Yeah, we're going on a date. We're going to go see.
Fun.
It'll probably be one of those things where you have to turn off your phone. He's probably working on material.
Yeah.
We saw Aziz Ansari, and it was the same thing. He was working. He was doing a little bit of working off cards.
Yeah.
But it's really cool to go to those to see the process and then watch. And now we can go and watch Aziz's special and see what how the jokes
evolved. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I can't wait to. It'll be a fun night. We're gonna be drunk. It'll be good. Okay, on a Sunday night, which is always good.
Yeah, man, it's fine. You'll be fine. Everything's good.
Okay, so look for that. Next game using the boarding action rules and later on this month. But until then,
play the game the way you want to.
Yes. We'd love it if you could give us a positive rating and review on iTunes.
If you'd like to keep in contact with us, you can follow us on Facebook or Twitter by searching for Masters of the Forge.
And you can follow our hobby progress on Instagram with the hashtag Masters of the Forge.
If you'd like to engage with us directly, you can always join our Discord server.
To do so, or if you have any questions, topic suggestions, or if you'd like to advertise your creative hobby endeavor,
contact us at mastersoftheforge@gmail.com.
Please consider supporting us on Patreon at patreon.com/mastersoftheforge. Thanks.
The music used in this podcast was made by Parad of the duo Sublevel 3. The track is used with his permission. This podcast is protected by the Creative Commons Attribution, No Derivatives, Non-Commercial International License. More information about this license and contact information if you have any requests can be found at our blog, mastersoftheforge.com.
It's such a good feeling to play games your way. It's such a happy feeling 40K'ing away. And when you throw dice with story in mind, it's such a wonderful way to unwind. It's a good feeling, a very good feeling, the feeling you know that we'll be back when the fortnight's new, and we'll have new ideas for you, and you'll have things you'll want to talk about. We will too.